Hey guys, it's Dave again, back again for another video. Welcome back to Dave's Dimension, the channel where chaos and insanity reign supreme. Back again here. I actually took, as you guys know, I got the benofkent pack kit from benofkent Props based in the UK. I will leave some links in the description below. Now, originally I was planning, and as you can see, got the pack right here, built. Well, built and not so much. I'll explain in a minute. Okay, so what I was doing, I was actually using my iPhone 11, and I was trying to do little videos here as I was going. Okay, and unfortunately, what happened was I tried transferring the videos to my computer so I could put them all together. They got corrupted when I was doing the transfer. I was using one of those apps that allows you to basically transfer your data from over Wi-Fi or USB up to your computer, and it did not take the translation or the transfer. So, unfortunately, those did not go through. So all those videos taken as I was going through the process did not go through. They broke. Uh, those videos are gone. So I'm actually going to go over a bunch of things here. Now, the kit itself, now mind you, this is not light, okay? For those who have back problems or don't have the proper back support, or if you're not one of those people who can sustain heavy lifting, you may want to stick with the spare packs potentially. Now, there are vacuum forms and there are other options you guys can take. For me, I'm losing weight. My back has much more. It has better posture, better support now. So that's one of the reasons why I'm jumping to the full size. Now, if you notice, not everything is tight because this is what we call a dry fit. Now, before you paint or before you put together a prop, you want to make sure everything's going to fit. So that's what I've done. I've drilled all the holes here. I've applied the iron arm. This is actually permanently affixed. Now, I know that there are a lot of videos, and benofkent even did a number of videos back in 2016. I'm sorry about that, guys. You're hearing the sound from my notifications. Um, so he did a couple videos, but there's not a full scale explanation on the build. That's the reason why I'm doing this video, guys. So his build relies on several bolts and screws, nuts and washers with those bolts to secure everything on here. So you can actually remove those parts if you ever need to replace them. Okay? So several parts. He's got some resin pieces here. Now, the way this is all set up, I even have the bumper on here, which it wasn't too easy to put on, guys, because you have to line up the holes. There's no instruction manual that really comes with this, but if you're ever in a pinch, you're putting together a pack, I highly recommend reaching out to the benofkent's Prop Facebook group, and also there is a How to Build a Proton Pack group, which has helped me a lot with this. Now, I have a potentiometer, so this little crank knob is actually going to be functional. I'm actually going to see if I can wire it to the GB fan soundboard so it has volume control. That way I can control the volume here. But yes, obviously I'm not going to be able to reach back and adjust my volume. So, I mean, that's just for me to set ahead of time and afterwards. You have the HGA here. And again, it has a bolt here, so you can loosen this and take this out. I'm going to be painting all these pieces. Now, if you notice here, I actually have a real clipboard. It's not fully bolted to the shell because I'm going to take it off for painting and everything. Now, each of these pieces, there are some basic videos where it shows you to drill through. And actually what I did was I got a set of these self-threading bits. You can get these at your Home Depot, Lowe's, practically any hardware store, or order it online. Now, my friend Justin Williams, who actually built one of these packs, he is the one that threw me onto that, so that helped a lot. So these bolts and screws, cap head bolts they're threading through, so you can unscrew them. Okay, Now, I haven't added any of the brass pieces or the elbow parts onto the pack just yet. Now, his route that he did was he did that afterwards. I may do the same thing. Now, of course, another friend of mine, Nick Vitale, from down in Florida, he recommended doing this ahead of time, but what he recommended doing was take a drill bit that's one size down from the actual size of the item you're going to put in there. Whether it's the brass piece or the elbow, do a step down and just slowly edge it in so that it's screwing itself in. I've done that with the spirit packs, but this is hard resin, so that's going to be interesting to take that route. I'm definitely going to try that. I also drilled a hole through here for the size hose that comes out of here. Now everything is pretty secure in here. You have your bolts for up here and down here that holds this ladder part on, but also you have two bolts that I haven't pushed all the way, that I haven't drilled all the way in yet, that will hold the tube in place. Now also, when you put one of those screws in, it actually is perfect for stopping this right in the tube. Now, after I paint everything in, I'm going to apply either some E6000 or epoxy on it, so when I push it in, it will then solidify and will hold in place even if the pack is turned upside down. Now, if you're not familiar with E6000, this is a adhesive that's good on fabric and on materials like hard plastics, ceramics. I mean, it's pretty much an all too. I've actually used this for patches on suits and on jackets. So this is something that's an all-purpose. You can use it on plastics, metals, just about anything. And you can get this at any Joann's, Michael's, any place. I mean, you may even be able to find it at a hardware store, or even like a Walmart or Target. Now, I did also drill the hole for the ribbon. This is where the ribbon's going to go into. Unlike the spirit packs, we don't have another tube sticking out, so I'm just going to put that right in there. I also have the ribbon cable clamps already screwed in. They're going to come right out. Now, for the booster tube, I really couldn't come across a reference video for that. So what I did was, now I got the metal one from benofkent, and basically it comes with a bolt that screws in from the inside into the actual shock mount itself. So what I did was, because I knew I would have extra space inside, was I actually got a couple extra screws and a washer to help secure it in place. So that's pretty much like I said, I'm going to put the brass pieces, I'm going to screw them in afterwards after I paint everything. So I'm going to actually start this week breaking this down because I'm hoping to paint this next weekend. Now, me and my wife, we live in an apartment, so I don't have a garage, shed, somewhere I can go to paint. Yes, we have like a little patio balcony. One, it doesn't have much room, and two, this is New York State. We're in Buffalo, New York, or just outside Buffalo, New York, and we're starting to get. We already have winter weather advisories this week, so it's not going to be a good time to try and paint outside. Plus, with the colder temperatures, it's harder for paint to dry. So I'm actually going to be using my brother's garage, and doing some painting inside where it's going to be protected from the winds, and hopefully we'll be able to get some nice turnouts. Now, I plan on painting this either aluminum or silver to prime it. Now you might be saying, well, it already has a primer gray on it. Yes. But if you've seen our previous video, and also sometimes in some parts you do have some peeking out of the resin, so I just want to fully cover it with either silver. I have silver Rust-Oleum primer, the 2x primer and paint, and I also have the silver and the aluminum I have. So I'm going to do that with all the pieces, with the exception of the metal pieces like the clipboard, the shock mounts, the little clip for the ribbon cable to feed through. But everything else is pretty much going to get that treatment. Then, after that's fully dry, the next step is I'm thinking I might do a flat black. And I've had some people tell me go with satin. Some people have said go with semi-gloss. It depends on what your reference is, or your preference, I should say. And also, do you want your pack to look brand new? Do you want it to look old? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the flat black. We're going to see how it turns out. Now, what I may do after that flat black is I may go with a semi-gloss or maybe a satin just to do a light coat on it. Now, a lot of this is going to be taped up, by the way. Like, you see where you have the little stripes here? Those parts are going to be taped up. These little square notches right here are going to be taped up. This part is going to be taped up. Any part that's going to have a label applied to it is going to be taped up. Okay? Because I've had it in the past where with my spirit packs, I had trouble getting labels to stick because it had because I'm also going to apply the trick liner spray. So I can have textured parts on certain areas of the pack. So anywhere you're going to have a label, you want to tape. And any spot that that you don't want a textured surface, you want to tape up. Okay? So obviously I'm going to be disassembling this. All these pieces are going to be taken off, and I'm going to tape up the parts that I don't want to be covered. And there's a lot of there's reference videos and also reference pictures that you can get from the benofkent group and also from the How to Build a Proton Pack group. There's a very good video by Punished Props Academy where they built their own proton pack using vacuum forming. But in that video, there's a lot of helpful hints and guidance in regards to painting your pack. Okay, so if you're a first-time pack builder, whether full scale or spirit, like me, definitely hit that video up. I've watched it a dozen times, and I'm probably going to watch it a few more times this week. Okay, now while I was building this, I did come across one little issue here. Due to my own clumsiness, I had this resting on a toolbox, and I tripped over something, my own negligence. I fell forward and hit the pack. Now, there is a small little crack right here. You can only see it if you're really looking at it. It's a hairline crack. I'm probably going to use, not planning on using epoxy for it, maybe some filler of some kind. I know a friend of mine always recommends using plumber's putty, so I might use some of that, let it dry, and see if it helps this, okay? But of course, after I paint it and everything, it may not even be noticeable. I might even rotate this around so that nobody will be able to see the crack. But, I mean, you got to be careful. These accidents do happen. This has a bolt in here, so this comes right out. I can take these right out. These are actually, they were threaded right in. Like I said, this is going to be a disassemble and breakdown. In fact, reason why I'm not showing you guys my motherboard is right now I have a section of the motherboard out on my patio. I took some flat black because I drilled some holes for it. Because for the speaker that is, I have this little speaker I got on Amazon with a speaker cover. But I still drilled holes because you want sound to be able to come out. But I'm going to put a speaker cover. But the speaker cover, you can still see the aluminum parts of the pack. So I did a little flat black on that section. So I can affix the cover to it and everything else. Now what I'm doing with this build is a GB Fans soundboard and light kits. So I have the light kits. Now, unfortunately, due to some of the shaping of the inside, because you can see everything, this is complete resin. And this is very sturdy, mind you. I love this. But when I was trying to set this in, it wasn't exactly allowing it to perfectly fit in. So I have either one of two choices. Either try and sand this down, cut it out itself, or I'm going to see if I might do this a little bit different like I did with my spirit packs. Now my spirit packs, I actually put all the lights inside the shell itself. I'm not going to do that. I am going to put the power cell in here, and the power cell has detachable cords. So if I ever open this up, I can just unplug that particular wire so that it's not going to pull and yank and cause damage. Excuse me, guys. So I'm going to set this down for a minute. As you guys can see, even definitely what I might do is I might actually put a little bit of tape on here to kind of keep it more centered, because it is a little loose in there, but that's not a problem. We'll fix that afterwards. So I'm gonna let me put this right back on an old guitar stand I have. This is actually the guitar stand I use for the Flux Pack. So there we are. Now, with the benofkent kit that I got, it also has the hardware mounts for the cyclotron lights. Now, I took a little bit of liberty with it. I bought some dollar store flashlights and salvaged the reflectors from it. I have to get one more for the vent light. I'm not going to do a smoke kit, at least not at this moment. That's not something I'm really focused on. I just want the pack being functional first. So what I did was, I actually have hot glue. Now if you notice, this is black hot glue I have on here. Now there are some people who say, oh, why are you using hot glue? It's the closest thing I had and the most convenient thing I had. Yes, I can always take this off and put some epoxy on here, but I was focusing on getting holes drilled. Now I just drilled small holes in here. Now, how I set this up was a little different. I had the motherboard, and I took this. This did not have holes on here, by the way. This is just one solid piece originally. And I took some painter's tape because that's the most convenient thing I had. I just had some basic painter's tape. And I kind of eyeballed the motherboard, laid it on there, and I took a strip of tape here, strip of tape on the other side, and then I put the shell on it to see where I was. Now, actually, I was almost on target. It's just that it was a little bit over to this side than it should have been. So then I took the shell back off, moved this back over, taped it down again. I put the shell on, and it seemed to be covering this area pretty good. My next tip was, or I should say my next step was, I just took a Sharpie. Now this is a silver Sharpie or gray Sharpie. I used the black one. And what I did was, basically with this inside, I just kind of went center of that area, did a little dot, did a little dot, did a little dot, did a little dot, and that's where I got my holes marked. So what I did was, with the dot, I took my Ryobi drill. I just got this not even a month ago, and I love this drill. I've been going about 2 days without having to recharge it. So I just went in, drilled the hole, drill a hole, drill a hole, drill a hole. And it turns out that the hole wound up being perfect size for the LED lights to come through. Okay? So then, what I did was, I just kind of centered the reflectors on. I applied the hot glue first and then just pushed down and let it dry. And this turned out perfectly centered for each of these holes on the cyclotron. Now, again, I kept the tape in place and I drilled right through for my bolts. My bolts are going to be holding this down. And then took the tape off. What I did was I put bolts on one side, then I went on the other side, repeated the process, took the tape off, and now I have my mounting. Now also, this is perfect size because now the speaker I have fits perfectly in there. I got tons of room here, guys. Tons of room. So if you want to go up, take it up a notch or two, you could go with a bigger speaker and still have room. Okay? It's a thing you could do. You don't have to, but it's a possibility that you can go with. So, there we are. So this is obviously going to sit down here. Now, as far as my GB fans... excuse me, guys. Okay. As far as my GB fans... I got a couple of these. These you usually see for their little risers, forgot what the technical term is, but you can use these to mount them up a little higher. Now, if this board was a little bit bigger, or if I could get my hands on a nice little piece of platform, I could then take my battery and slide it underneath. What I'm probably going to do is keep these kind of side by side for our purposes. I have plenty long speaker wire. In fact, I have more speaker wire that I might go with. And I am going to work on a little bit of cable management, maybe some zip ties to keep everything nice. We have the power cell light. This is the wire I told you that will just plug right in to the power cell. And then, of course, there's another jack on that power cell light that allows you to connect your cyclotron lights. Okay? So everything has a place for everything, so to speak. Because this is the GB fans that I'm talking about. Okay, you can run a separate power source to it, right there with the little blue box that screws. The expansion is where you put the cyclotron lights that connect right there. And then you have your power, and everything else is pretty simple. Now I put those same risers, so when I push this in, I'm probably going to do a dab of adhesive on each of these, maybe E6000. I'm not sure yet. So this will fit right inside the power cell in like this, giving a little bit of distance, so it's not right up against it, but give it a little bit of space. So that's pretty much the plan. Oh, by the way, this is the little speaker grill. You can actually get that with the same speaker on Amazon. I will try to leave a link in the description below. If not, I apologize. But that's pretty much it for the most part. Now, as far as my power, I'm tooling around with this. I've actually done a outside power switch on my Spirit pack, which my Spirit pack actually has the same GB fan setup. I didn't go with the Spirit upgrade kit from Spongeface or from FranklinGeek. I actually went with actual GB fans set up for my current Spirit pack. And I have the same kind of setup here. I don't know if I'll be able to rig it up, because I am planning on putting my battery inside the pack, but I'm at least going to have a jack so I can charge it. Because the Talon Cell power cells, they actually work on the same principle as the blue bricks from GB fans. When you are charging it, your adapter will have a red indicator light and a green one when it's fully charged. So it's the same principle. You just have to have a little port for charging. And that's what I'm planning to do, unless I come across some other suggestions. So this pack is pretty much, it's almost done. I mean, I have to break everything down, which is going to take no time at all. And then I have to paint each piece, which would be very interesting. It might be a day or two for me to do it in total, because now I am using the Rust-Oleum paint, which dries real fast. Now, as far as the bolts that come with the kit, there are some cap head screws, but then there are these nice and shiny jobbies. I might actually I have some brown ember paint, and I might actually paint the heads to give them kind of a worn look. Either that, or maybe I'll take a couple of these, tape up the threaded part, but leave the head part out, and just put them in some water, you know, let them rust on their own, give it some natural weathering. Because I don't know how I feel about the brand new shiny bolts right there. That's the only thing. I don't plan to weather this pack. I plan to keep it look nice and shiny, and with time, natural scraping and scratching will reveal its natural weathering. That's why I'm doing that silver aluminum as a primer, and then doing the layer of black, maybe a second layer of black, and then, of course, I'm going to do the spray, but I'm going to do the texture spray after I paint the pack. That way, you know, everything has a nice natural look. Yes, I could do some dry brushing on some of the texture to give it a little some additional wear and tear, but for right now, I'm just focusing on completing the pack. Now, the transistors. Now, benofkent, they do supply their own transistors and crank knob, okay? They do that. However, I got some actual ones, and that's what I'm planning to use. Now I'm going to do a little comparison. Now this is their crank knob, and it has the fake holes that you normally would use to tighten it. It's exactly the same as. Let me see if I can spin this around without dropping it again, so you guys can see. I mean, it's identical size. It's perfect casting. They do some amazing casting, and heaven forbid this actually breaks. I'm saving this. I'm not tossing this away. I'm keeping this because it's a nice little backup if I paint it. Now, let me pull up all my transistors. So this is the real transistor I have. Here's the other one. Now I got those from GBHQ Depot on Etsy. I think he also has a listing on eBay, but these are the real transistors. All the proper stamps and everything. So let's compare the resin casting to the real thing, okay? Now the only thing extra here is this little brass piece. Well, I mean, a person could paint something on here if they really wanted to. But this is perfect size. These are identical, basically. Now with this, I have this little extra part here. I might snip these metal pieces off. And then I'm going to drill a hole that will just fit right in. I am planning to use some epoxy so that this fits in perfectly. Okay? So that's that. Now here are the resin pieces with the transistor. Now they actually have a nice little imprint like the original, like in the original movie. I mean, this is the only thing that's missing is the little metal that sticks out, and this is really for purposes of the wire. The little colored hoses, you can actually drill a hole here and here, a little dab of glue or epoxy, and it's going to fit right in. And these have the screw holes right here that I have on the real one. So I mean, benofkent knocked it out of the park. So I do have these pieces if I want to use them. I'm keeping them because you never know, accidents happen and maybe you can't get your hands on these transistors, so I have them saved. Okay? So yeah, I'm going full on with these. So it's gonna look pretty. I really can't wait, guys. I'm be perfectly honest. I really can't wait to do it. Now, you heard me talk about some brass pieces before. This is what I'm referring to, like the elbows where the wires connect right into it. So that's what I'm referring to. So we have those pieces. Let's grab some of these out. Like the brass barbs that go from the tubes here and also to the bottom part. So I have those. I have a bunch of these. I have the brass elbow that will come out there, and also one that connects onto the ion arm when that comes in. So that's supposed to be, I guess, shipping within sometime this week. And of course, this little brass part that goes into the side where one of the red hoses or tubes will come out of. And that feeds into the elbow that goes right here. So I have all my parts here. It's just those final touches, that's what I'm going to be waiting on. But I also drilled a hole down here for the LED that fits perfectly. I do have to get another flashlight reflector right here to help with it. Now, for the end filter, I actually sprayed the inside with I had some chrome paint. And this thing shoots out like there's no tomorrow. But I want to add the reflector in there. Just one, it allow for protection with the LED light. And it should help make this even brighter. Now, like I said, I'm not going with a vape kit, a smoke vent kit, at least not yet. I really want to get this thing running and moving through its paces. Now, I did also get a benofkent kit, but right now, some of our resources through eBay and GB fans right now are being very cautious with COVID, so I don't blame them. So for the time being, I'm actually going to go with my Carnivorous Creations wand that I built. And the reason for this is I blame this. uh, Nothing negative against Carnivorous Creations. I mean, this is a great kit, and I was a beginner at this. But the weight difference from this to, like, say, Spangler or Spirit, you can feel the difference. I mean, this thing, when I built it, I could feel the weight in it because, I mean, you have a metal tube here, metal bottom, resin gun box. This is actually not a real clipboard, but I painted it, so from a distance, it kind of looks real, but it's actually not. This is their resin piece, and I threw my labels on here. I mean, even the top part here, this is not metal. It looks like it is because I used silver argent paint for this. I mean, everything was fantastic here. A lot of resin pieces. This thing could be heavier. It could definitely be heavier, but you can feel the difference. Now on here, unfortunately, I didn't put enough adhesive in here, so the rear handle and the front pipe, they can feel a little wonky, not 100% stable. But I was a beginner at this, so what do you expect? Now, if you notice, I have a lot of scratches on here. This was not purpose. Again, like I said with my pack, I painted everything silver, and then I did the black on top of it. Now, obviously, over time, I mean, you can see this has already been scratched up. I've only had this maybe since mid to early summer, and it's already been through its paces and scratched up. This is what I meant about leaving it stock, kind of that stock brand new look. And in no time, my pack's going to get scratches just like that. So that's why I went with this. But for the time being, I do have the regular V-hook brackets. I could easily just throw a standard V-hook on here. But I think there's a few sources on eBay that I might try and get the actual setup, the proper screen accurate V-hook, so I can have that. That's one thing I'm thinking about doing. The one on GB Fans has all the screws and bits in it, but still, it's roughly about the same price, maybe between $55 or so plus shipping and tax. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I may not. It all depends. I mean, I'm in no rush for to have this up and running, but within 2 days and a half, I got everything together. I mean, who knew? I didn't think I'd be going this fast. If I do the benofkent wand, which I probably will build it at some point, I'm going to need another one of these. This is actually a benofkent S-hook to hang it from the belt. Now, the only thing was when I got the benofkent, there are some extra screws that are in here, and I may use that for the wands. Now, their tube does not come with the frosted glass part. Now, he did say you can run some tape on here and then do some light sanding here and here to give that frost look. So I may actually do that with the benofkent wands. But right now I can't get the GB Fans light kit for the wands. So I'm holding off on building that one. Because I want to have the proper measurements. His kit did come with all the right lenses and everything. Mine, I went with the red lens on my Carnivorous Creations. So this does not have a functional pop mech, and I don't need to have a functional pop mech. I mean, that's just my own preference. Like I always say, it's your kit. You do what you want with it. These are your props. You set them up how you like them. So here we are. If you have any questions on what I did or how I went about this, please leave a comment section. Please leave a comment in the section below. I'm more than happy to to answer any questions I possibly can. Plus, guys, don't forget you have free available resources on Facebook. The benofkent props, I can't speak enough to that group. I mean, they're so supportive and they're there for you. Even if you have a small, silly question, they're there, guys. That's what they're there for. Also, how to build a proton pack group on Facebook as well. Both groups will help you. And in an instant, I can't speak enough about those guys. Now, a good help and resource when I was building this, there was Michael Frump from the How to Build a Proton Pack and benofkent group. He's a very good guy, very reliable in the GB community. He gave me a lot of reference photos. He messaged them to me. So I had a good point of reference as far as where certain parts went in. I did have to Dremel a little bit in here just to kind of fit this tube in there a little bit better. So I did do that. Um, I didn't screw these in the first time, but there's a lot of spots on here that you don't see. So I was able to cover up my mistakes. You will make mistakes. You guys got to remember there is one very key thing about the Proton Pack. Mistakes are your friend. There's no such thing as a perfect Proton Pack. We all have different opinions and different perspectives. But also, you got to think. They started out as 3 Ghostbusters. I can guarantee Venkman did not help build the pack. He was more he's the marketing guy. He's the business end guy, let's be honest. Egon and Ray were the ones that built it. And they built the proton packs and traps in a dilapidated, abandoned firehouse with substandard electrical wiring with whatever money that they got from the bank. It's not like they had perfect factory conditions to knock out dozens and dozens of these proton packs. Each of them were being patched together. Hell, in the first movie, right before they get their first call, you see them having a little dinner, having a little Chinese food at that small table, and Egon is actually working on the next pack, the 4th proton pack. I mean, they were just putting together with whatever supplies that they had. I mean, look at the ambulance. The ambulance was so beat up and everything. Ray did a fantastic job bringing the Ecto-1 to life. But that's the thing. Everything is patched together. So if something's a little off-centered on one opposed to another, that's perfectly fine. If you look at the screen used proton packs, all the packs are different. You know, you can even watch, if you rewatch the movie a couple times, you'll see that not all the cyclotron lights go in the same sequence. Some people refer them to Egon or Venkman method, either clockwise or counterclockwise. So, I mean, it all depends on what you're trying to do. Make the pack yours, right? That's why we're not all running around with patches that say Venkman, Spangler, Stans, Zeddemore. We're not running around in suits that say that. We're running around in suits that say our last names, guys. Because they're our packs. We built them. You know, just like, Venkman says, the franchise rights alone will make us rich beyond our dreams. And we are all different franchises, no matter what part of the country or world that we're in. You know, whether you're in the UK or in Italy or Japan, Australia. I mean, we have busters all over the world. Different franchises, different scientists built their own variations of the packs. That's why we have different packs. So, remember, if you make a mistake, you didn't make a mistake. You're adding character, you're telling a story with your prop guys. Okay? If you think you messed up royally, you didn't. There's patchwork. I mean, come on. The movie came out in 84. Here we are in 2020. I guarantee the little crack I have here, I can fill that in. That's just going to add character to my pack. I'm not going to say, well, I'm not going to, I could sit here and I could email benofkent and say, hey, a piece broke. How much for a brand new one? And I can get a replacement. I can guarantee that I could do that. Am I? No. Because one little crack, one little scratch, one imperfection, it adds character to the packs, guys. Now, this week I got my, I was told my Alice frame is coming potentially Tuesday. So then I could start mounting it to the pack so I can figure out how that's going to work out. And what else do I have? Oh, I still have the iron arm end cap, the one where the rod comes down. That's being shipped sometime this week, so I will be getting that afterwards, but I don't need to worry about that just yet because I have to paint the whole pack anyways. Now, for those who aren't familiar, now, in the past, I've done Moby signs for my spare packs. And I love Moby signs. Moby signs even got me I got the Ghostbusters 2 decal labels for the Kenner Ecto 1 up there, or should I say the 1A. I love those labels. He does an amazing job. So, but this time around, I said, you know what? If you're going to build a full scale pack, do it with some style. I know I'm quoting Back to the Future, but I have the Mac Factory labels, and I'm very excited that Mac Factory is going to be producing Proton Pack parts. So who knows? Maybe I'll do some upgrades, or maybe we'll build a brand new pack altogether. Who knows? Not saying that too loud. My wife might hear me. So they throw in these very nice decals for the clippers. If you're not going to use the real ones, that is. I may actually donate this to a teammate. Who knows? This gives you a better look. I mean, these are some nice flats decals right here. We got some metallic GB ones. I might actually throw those on my my motherboard. We got the nice full size Danger with some extra red stripes here for the infilter. I love that. That they don't just give you one, they give you a couple. We have different labels here for the pack itself and the infilter. More labels depending on which version you're going to do. Of course, this goes on the top, this for the bumper, and I mean, these are not cheap. They cost a pretty penny, but they're worth it. Okay, these have all the labels for including the wand itself. So I got that. Let me put those back in their container, their sleeve, to keep them nice and shiny and protected until I require their assistance to make my pack whole. There we go. You want to keep them nice and fresh and protected. And then also, we have some more pieces here. And these are printed on 3M. This is good stock. These are not your atypical decals. Okay, some of these are printed on aluminum. The warning sign that will basically go right here. I mean, this is just, it's amazing, guys. We have another label. I believe this is clear. The caution label that goes on the side right here. Can't wait to use that. And of course, this part goes on the HGA. And actually, I used this when I was drawing out my template on here. On the HGA, where you have the cap head screws, you also have a center part. What I did was I just took a little gel pen that I had, went around a circle, did a little dot in the center, took a little ruler, marked a line, so I had cross intersecting marks to guide me in my process, and I just kind of eyeballed the screwing in here, the drilling I should say. But Mac Factory, they go all the way out for you guys here with the labels, because they even give you a manual on how to apply these and where to apply them, guys. I mean, it's bananas. I mean, yeah, it costs a few bucks extra, but you know what? They even show you placement options. There's instructions on how to go about it. I mean, I have to go through this a few times myself before I apply the labels. I really can't wait. So, that came with those as well. So, that box is backed up. Nice, good, heavy-duty labels. And their boxing. By the way, the hoses, all the different color cables that are needed for here are all included. For this, does come with a hose that you can use both for the wand and also for the tube here. I cut out a small section of that for the tube itself. And yes, I threw a little sticker on here. One of my teammates made these few months ago. Oh, one of mine came off. I'm gonna have to put some extra adhesive on here now. But see, that's why we mark these up, and I know where to put that back on now. Because that lines perfectly with the hole right there, guys. These accidents will happen. Yeah, I know, it's hot glue. It's not going to last forever, but it's a good placeholder until I can get everything permanently fixed to it. So, that is the benofkent pack right now, guys. I will be doing a follow-up video. In fact, with this now broken off, and this shows, it shows you this is just a regular lens reflector. I dremeled some of the pieces down. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put some E6000 on here. We're going to apply this, and it should be done and solidified by tomorrow. I will recommend this with the colder months right now, colder weather. Work in ventilated areas. If you're in a part of the world or part of the country where it's very cold, just like I am, I'm in Buffalo. My windows are already weatherized or sealed up. I have a fan here. I have a fan. I'm going to open up the door so I got some air circulation going on. And, you know, it never hurts to wear a mask. I mean, yeah, this is not government certified. But at least if I'm wearing something like this, and let's be honest, we're all wearing face masks when we're out in public. This is just going to help so that I'm not getting the fumes directly in. And, of course, I'm going to wash it as soon as I'm done. My wife has been awesome through this pandemic. She's literally made so many masks that I could probably wear 2 or 3 masks a day without wearing the same one again. I mean, she's been hand making these for us, and no, she's not selling them. No, she's just made it for those of us, friends and family. Her little trick on it is hair ties, so that it's not hurting your ears. I got my little Spider-Man mask. I have a few others here too. So, I mean, you want to be careful. You don't want to get sick, turn into something else. Also, I'm a big proponent of JB Weld. That's actually what I used for the iron arm up here, and this thing ain't going nowhere. One thing benofkent goes over is he talks about keying with this. Okay, what does keying mean? Basically, keying is just like when a person keys a car. You're going straight across this particular surface. Let's say this is the area we want to apply the epoxy to. I'm going to scratch, basically I'm going to run this, scratch a line across, 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 a line across. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other piece. Say this is the flat surface, and then we're going to take another piece and we want it perfectly on that surface. Well, I'm going to try and match up the keying almost identical. So then, when I apply the epoxy, it's going to fill into those grooves, right? And then, and by the way, this JB Weld that I use is a 5 minutes curing. It cures in 5 minutes, okay? That's the brand I use, Clear Weld. You can get this at any hardware store, Lowe's, I mean, Home Depot, anywhere you get your hardware needs, you can get something like this, or even online. This is the clear, and some of it did run out, and you have to be careful. I still have some Harbor Freight gloves that I usually use for painting, rubber gloves, and I used it here. And what I did was, after the fact, was some of it did run, and I just took sandpaper and went around and smoothed it out. This is not 100%, but like I said, 100% is not necessary. So, all your imperfections are going to work out. So, that's the pack right now, guys. Tell me what you think. I mean, this is my first time building, actually properly build. I shouldn't say proper, but in my eyes, properly building a proton pack. I mean, I've done the spare pack. Everything is pretty much there. You remove one piece here, you remove one piece there. You apply your paint, you reapply those pieces back on, You have your light kit on the inside, and Bob's your uncle. This is a little bit more invasive, so I felt that this was more of a challenge. And honestly, I'm I'm blown away with it. I mean, I seriously thought maybe I might get one or two pieces on, and maybe that's all I would have done this weekend. But for some reason, give it my new circumstances with my health, I have more energy. I have more energy. I'm more awake. I'm awake longer. I mean, Friday I got done with my work shift at about 5:30. I probably started working on this at 6:30, and probably went until about 11 at night. And then all day Saturday and all day today, and this is where I'm at. I mean, I'm blown away by this. It's definitely, it feels good to see a challenge, to step up to it, and to basically succeed at it. Now, I know I'm not 100%, I'm 95% with this, guys. After I take everything apart, we're going to do some painting, and then reassemble, get the electronics, make sure everything's humming, and, that's where we're going to be. I mean, I really can't wait, guys. I really cannot wait. Now, as far as the painting, what I may do is, since I had the fiasco with the phone, what I may do is I may actually bring the my laptop with me. Got my laptop right behind me here, so maybe I'll take that with me with the webcam, and we'll do a video while I'm painting, so you can see some of the progress there. But that's it, guys. That's it for this video. We're going to see you back next time, obviously. I'm hoping you do. If you want to follow me for more Ghostbuster-related content, or Power Rangers, I mean, just anything 80s or 90s related. In fact, you might see the license plates I have up there. I got those from Celebrity Machines. I got them a couple months ago. They just did a Black Friday sale. They have an Ecto 1A and Ecto... Well, that's what I have up there. They have Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters 2 and Ecto 2. Now, if you're not familiar with those are one of those blink and you'll miss it type moments in the movie. Because in the beginning of the movie, the guys are driving the Ecto 1 to a birthday party because they're performing at birthdays. Ray and Winston need some money. And they pull up in the old Ecto. It's got Ecto 1. Now, of course, we know in the majority of the movie, after they're back in business, Ecto gets a rebuild, and she's Ecto 1A. There's actually a scene when the guys pull up to, before Venkman and Dana go out to dinner. If you freeze frame the Ecto, you'll see it says Ecto 2. So, they were doing a promotion on those. They had some scratched or dented, like an imperfect license plates, which is perfect for me, at $5 a piece. So I think they're $10 a piece right now, so you may want to go to Celebrity Machines. They have all kinds of license plates. Blues Brothers, Spaceballs, Back to the Future. I mean, you name it. Everything from 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. Fast and Furious license plates. They have just anything. They have Doctor Who license plates. Serenity from Firefly. They have all these different fantasy license plates. And I mean, they have some amazing deals if you're, even if you're not a car guy. It's something fun and novel to have, and know this video is not sponsored by them. I'm just giving you guys a nice little insight on some very fun stuff that you guys can jump in on. So, until next time, this is Dave from Dave's Dimension saying keep on busting, and I'll catch you on the flip side. And please, if you like this video, if you want to see more like this, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and we'll see you in the next one.